calling the cops on him, and him having the cops call on him. Yeah, look at this take. I worked for a bank and I was one of four black employees. I noticed in our training guides, all the models appearing suspicious were always portrayed by black people. It's in the training of the bank employees along with their own personal biases. I remember I worked in retail before, and I started noticing a pattern. What they would do is they'd say, "Hey," at certain moments they'd say, "Hey, um, that customer is suspicious. Watch them." Okay, but then I started noticing the pattern developing that every time they were like, "Oh, watch that guy." It was always a black guy. And I remember one time, young black guy comes in. Now there's already a white guy in the back of the store, right? A white customer, uh, and he's acting very suspicious. The young black guy comes in, and they're like, "Hey, watch him." And I'm like, "No, why? Why am I watching him?" Like, no, no, I think he's just like, what has he done? He hasn't done anything. I'm not watching him. I says, meanwhile, that white guy has bulges underneath his jacket, and they realize, oh, they're so caught up in that nonsense, this stereotyping, this profiling, that they missed somebody that was actually doing the crime. And quite frankly, just to put you up on game, some rings will use that strategy. Some theft rings will actually use that strategy intentionally. So some cases, you'll have a ring where they will send in a black person, go in, and have all security have their eyes on that person. Meanwhile, and they usually use young white girls to actually do the boosting. The young white girls come in and just wipe the place clean because all of the attention is on the black dude. All the attention on the black dude, and then these young white girls come through and just make a killing and leave. And then after they're gone with whatever they need and whatever they can carry, then the black dude leaves. So like profiling, not only is it bad for it, just doesn't make any sense at all because it's really dumb as hell. But it's clear that in this case, this was not this was not about anything he'd done. There was like no legitimate purpose for stopping him. Um, I would use a note too. There are people always watching you. You can't take out that much money in cash. Like that rapper died because he took money out. No, yeah, there will be people out there like that are watching to see who takes out a lot of money. When you go to the ATM, you go to a bank, they see you go in, they're watching because they want to see what you come out with. Wells Fargo Wells Fargo still requires you to fill out a withdrawal form when you go inside. So the fact that there is a note is irrelevant for the most part. Exactly, because there's a couple of things we're going to talk about with this. In fact, he said something in there. Uh, like he says, like I'm trying to get out my own money. But when you look at the countertop, there's something See, I don't know how it is everywhere else. I now know that's the way it is in Atlanta, where he was. But in New York City, like I went to the bank the other day. So I go to the bank, and in this case, I want to do a certified check, right? So I get a withdrawal form, write the information on. But here's what I have to do when I get up to the teller's window. I still have to take out my debit card, put my debit card into the machine, type in my PIN to open my account. Then I give them the slip, and they can start, And if I'm doing a withdrawal, like if I'm doing a cash withdrawal, sometimes they'll ask for ID. Usually, though, once you put in the PIN, they're not going to ask for ID because that's the point of putting in your debit card and then typing in your PIN. And guess what was in this bank? They had the machines with the debit cards and the PINs. And he put his debit card in, he put his PIN number in, and gave her his ID. In addition to a note which said, I would like to withdraw $12,000 from my account. From my account. The note was the withdrawal form. Yes, he didn't just have some random piece of paper. He had the withdrawal slip, and on the back, he wrote that information. I would like to take $12,000 out of my account. Please count it out in the back, so because I want to be discreet. Like there's nothing at all about that is crazy, that is out of the ordinary. Tech lad, in my experience in retail, it was the white and Asian woman you had to watch carefully. Yeah, listen, if you start profiling, you've already lost because listen, a good crew will know, oh, they're stopping every person that looks like this. So we're just going to send people that don't like this to get the job. We'll send people like this to distract you. That's the description you're looking for. Okay, now we'll send the real people that's actually going to do the boosting. They'll go in, wipe the place clean, and people are like, "Well, we were watching it the whole time. How did we lose so much merchandise? Because you did some dumb stuff and you paid for it." Um, on On the 911 call, the teller makes it clear that him wearing black sunshades made her uncomfortable. Yeah, we got to get to the we're gonna have to get to um, the actual 911 call because the 911 call, wow. Uh, because but before see, here's the thing. ABL had his theory that that the bank handing in a note is an automatic sign that you need to be under suspicion, that you need to be um, that they need to be watching you. That's what, according to ABL, that's what it is, right? Okay. I know a guy that went to the penitentiary for robbing banks. Writing a teller a note like that is an automatic way to get the police called on you, ID or no ID. Here's the difference. Here's the thing that ABL isn't talking about. Um, well, number one, that whole thing about ID or no ID, that's not at all accurate because I know that guy that robbed the bank. I know a couple other guys. And let me tell you something about those guys. Some of these guys use notes to rob banks. Some of them use guns. Some of them, claim that they had explosives on them. Some had masks, some had disguises. But guess what? None of them had. Guess what? None of those guys that robbed banks had. None of those guys that robbed banks had bank accounts in the bank they were robbing. None of those guys were trying to rob the bank while making a withdrawal from their own account. That's what none of them had. So his take that giving them his ID didn't matter is absolutely stupid. It's stupid as hell. And as you um intellectually intentionally dishonest. Yes. Like I don't know who he's trying to impress, but that makes no sense whatsoever. It makes no sense whatsoever that in the process of robbing this bank, that Ryan Coogler puts his debit card in, enters his PIN number, gives them his ID, and is trying to rob it. Like he has an account there. But like I said, somebody else, Josh, I think it was Josh. Yeah, earlier you hit it on the head because I started looking at this and like, wait a minute. I think this was not just stupidity. Um, he lives in a different world until reality hits him on the face. So yeah, it makes no sense. I understand why would Ryan do that because he doesn't want folks to know out loud he's withdrawing 12K. Yeah, and when we get to the body cam footage outside the bank, because like the cops, there's more footage. Um, Crazy to think Ryan didn't steal from his own bank account. Like, yes, how is he robbing his own bank account like that? Yeah, yeah, we gotta listen to the 911 call. Let me pull up the 911 call. Um, I gotta pull up the 911 call. Um, it's right over here. Okay.
So I just told my manager I didn't feel comfortable. So he told me to call police while he was stalled.
What's on the note, ma'am?
It just says I want to withdraw $12,000. Just be discreet.
Is this an actual customer, or are they trying to rob the bank?
They had a debit card and he inserted it. He gave me a California ID, but I was like, okay. I was like, I was like, how do you want the cash back? And he's like, just look at the note.
And he had no weapons, correct?
Not that I know of. He just has on black sunshades and a black hat.
Is he a black male, white male?
He's a black male. And every time I ask him like a question, he's like, look at the note.
So, okay.
But he inserted his debit card, and then I asked for his ID. He handed me his ID as a California ID. But I didn't look at his name because I'm just like so shook up. Like, I don't know what he's trying to do. So I just told him, give me one moment. I have to get my manager.
Okay, so none of the information was even verified. Okay. He might just want to be discreet, but I have police around.
Yeah, I mean, he might. It just ain't weird.
That's like there's no. He put his card in, entered his PIN number, gave her his ID. Like, how stupid is this? How stupid is she? Like that. Like the whole day. Yeah, I feel horrible for laughing at this. She's pointing out he had all of my. Yes, he did everything. Everything he's supposed to do if he's making a withdrawal. He's making a and that's the crazy thing. And she says, "What did the note say?" That's what's crazy. The teller says, "What did the note say?" Now, and we're going to get to something that okay. So she says, "What does the note say?" She says, "Oh, he said he's trying to make a withdrawal of $12,000." That's why the listen. That's why she then says, "Wait a minute, is he a customer?" Because he said he's making a withdrawal. Customers do that. They come into a bank to make withdrawals. That's not robbery. That's what people do. One of the things people do in a bank. And yet, this woman is like, "Oh no, well he told me to read." Yes, read the note. At no point did she. But there's two things I really want to know. I want to know, what did dispatch tell the officers on their way there? And what did the staff say? Because even as stupid as this woman is, and just clearly, utterly, she sounds like a complete and utter idiot, a complete idiot. What were the managers thinking? What when she went to the manager and says, "Oh yeah, he just told me to read the note." Well, what does the note say? Like, that's what's really getting me. Why did why did the managers? And then the question is, what did she tell the managers? That's another question. But nonetheless, if he put his card in, if they knew all of this information, if they knew that he put his card in, they knew that he put his PIN number in, and he gave her his ID. What's the problem? What's the problem? She sounds like she talking to her boyfriend the way she talks to dispatch. She don't sound that. Yeah, Captain Hart. Listen, when you listen to, yeah, bank teller was tripping. The man handed you his ID and his debit card. Like, how unsuspicious does the man have to be to not mention yeah, ID, PIN number, his PIN number. Like, the account doesn't open until you put in your PIN. You put in your card, you put in your PIN number. Now your account is activated. Now they can actually see if you have the money that you're trying to withdraw. Now they can see your information there. So all of the information she needs is on the screen in front of her. And if she wants to be sure, because it's a large amount, she asks for his ID. He gave her his ID. But that wasn't enough. She still chose to do the dumbest thing imaginable and call the police on him, claiming it's a bank robbery. She literally told the dispatcher all of these things he did, which clearly indicate he's a customer, but she decided to ignore them because he told me to read the note. Then read the. I had to read the note. Read the damn note. Go get the money from his account. But notice this: when she told the dispatcher, when she told the 911 operator, oh, he says he's making a $12,000. He said he wanted to withdraw $12,000. She left out from my account. From my account. That's one of the things he said that he wrote in the note, from my account, and she left that out. Interesting. Thank you for checking out this clip from Escaping the Echo Chamber. If you would like to check out the entire live stream, you can click on the screen now, or you can find the link in the description below. I'll see you next time.